Just over 2 years ago, I started coaching people to build their own websites online. This was off the back of creating courses through Udemy. Going back further, I've built over 3,000 websites on our own platforms, agencies that I ran, and more recently, in the last 10 years, building websites on Squarespace. The one thing I didn't realize when going into coaching was just how wrong I would get it. My background is coaching web designers. And when I start coaching designers, even though they don't start off with a level playing field, depending on their experience, their background, and potentially whether they've got a degree or not, there's usually a solid foundation. They understand principles of design, have a solid understanding of what makes a strong layout. So my focus was always to bring it up a level, turn them from solid designers into designers that would be better than me. And thankfully, most designers I've coached have ended up being better than myself. So when switching to helping people build their first website, or transition into web design from marketing backgrounds, for example, I've found that an interesting challenge, namely because I didn't realize how diverse the starting point was. So today, I've created a diagram based on the information I've gathered over the past couple of years, and I put it all together in which I suppose we can say is a tribute to the London Underground. Each type of individual I've coached have got a different hopping on point and also potentially a different exit point. Not everyone who learns how to build a professional looking Squarespace website will want to become the best Squarespace designer in the world. However, at the other end of the spectrum, someone could be hopping on already being an experienced designer and good at their job, but want to take it to the next level. Maybe they want to improve their quoting, to have a better understanding of the technical aspects in getting a website live, like handling scary domain names. With that diversity of the audience that I've been coaching, I need to put together a program where it's very clear from day one what the objectives are, but also the likelihood of achievement and the length of the journey for each individual to their dream outcome. Alas, I haven't cracked it yet, but I'm hoping this diagram will make a big difference. And before we hop over, if you feel this helps you, we are running 2 communities over on Skool, one all around website builders and how you can become more technically proficient in building websites on those platforms. But also we've got a private group where I can coach students on a weekly basis, where we have 2 live sessions per week on Zoom, and I will coach them through all of the different aspects and challenges to get them to the next destination in their journey. It doesn't matter whether the student's starting from scratch or whether they're hopping on as a seasoned graphic designer. The massive eye-opener I've had since I launched my Skool communities is that I was expecting to be helping other people and using Skool as a platform for that. But the one thing I hadn't realized is just how much I've learned about tweaking my communication and building a community by being a member of Skool. I truly think they've got something special going on over there, and I'm excited to be along for the ride. But you're not here for that, so let's have a look at this diagram and see if we can decide where your starting point is. Let's crack on. I'm back on my trusty chalkboard, and today we've got a rather crude version of the London Underground. But this model just works really well visually, and I've created a digital version of this, just in case this is straining your eyes a little bit, but this will just help me kind of walk us through it. So I'll switch between this version and the on-screen version as well. This is the journey with hop-on and hop-off points for our creatives, designers, and business owners. We'll start off with the complete novice. This is someone potentially moving into web design from a different career. We affectionately call this demographic as career change Colin. Colin maybe has had a background in the corporate sector, wants a complete change of life, wants to get work-life balance back, maybe work from home and do something creative. Colin will join us from day one, and the challenge we've got with Colin is making sure we can start off on a pace that works for him, because even our novices will start with different levels of technical proficiency. Generally, they will be able to find their way around a computer, may have a laptop or device that they can start building websites on from day one. There's certainly no requirement anymore to have a high-end Mac or even a gaming PC to build professional-looking websites, simply because the websites that we build are all built within the browser. Of course, we use Adobe Creative Cloud to work on our photos. That's where we bring in AI tools, and the AI tools in Photoshop are phenomenal. But this is an optional extra when we really start getting under the skin of web design projects. So most of the time, what we're after is a reliable computer for Colin, plus then an up-to-date browser, so he can create his first Hostinger account or set up a free trial with Squarespace. He can build his first free websites, and the moment they go live on Squarespace, he becomes a Circle member, and then there's another avenue for him to do some extra background research whilst he's working through the content that we set. Career Change Colin is someone I've started working with over the past 12 to 18 months. Then we've got the DIY crowd. So the DIY Squarespace designer, for example, is Career Change Colin 6 months ago. Maybe start to dabble with website builders needing one for their own business, intrigued about building websites professionally, and they've just started out by having a play. So they've got an understanding of how Wix or Squarespace or Hostinger or even WordPress will work, But at this stage, they're probably still making those schoolboy design errors, which are understandable because it's a brand new career to them. That's where we can jump in and help to mitigate the risks and reduce the problems one at a time to make sure that those projects run smoother. Again, whether it's for their own project or whether it's for someone else. Then as we move along the line, we've got digital marketer. The digital marketer has a really strong, broad understanding of digital marketing, maybe copywriting and prepping content for the website. So the challenges for our digital marketers is usually understanding of design principles for web, of course, then understanding and learning the website builder software so that they can apply their own skill set and provide a wider range of services for their clients. Likewise, you can have digital marketers who only work for one company. As a result, they can increase their profile within that company and their value to them by adding a new skill set into the mix. Maybe they don't even want to design the website and they work alongside a designer, but at the same time want to be part of a community so they can continue to develop the website so it doesn't need quite so substantial upgrades in the future. By future-proofing the website, they're making themselves more valuable to their employers. And likewise, it works the same for freelance digital marketers who are looking to collaborate with professional designers or take on that skill set themselves. I've added this one in. We haven't worked with many, but every now and again you have someone moving across from IT. And there's always been the issue, especially locally in Mid Wales, where someone will ask, what do? I say, I help people to get their website live and over the line. And the response will be, oh, so you do IT. No, it couldn't be further from the truth. We use the technology as a tool to an end, but I'm certainly no IT expert. I suppose I'm an enthusiast from having to problem solve on the fly. But there is a relatively natural transition from IT into web design, and there have been many micro IT companies who have offered web design as a service. That's the audience that I can help to make their websites more polished, more resilient in future, and more valuable to their existing clients so that they can package managing the website alongside managing the systems within their offices, Office 365 subscriptions, etc. Next along, graphic designer. This one's pretty clear. This is someone with a skill set and a strong background in graphic design. We call this demographic Freelance Fiona. And Freelance Fiona is really accomplished with what she already knows, but has shied away from web design as a service because of the technical aspects and not wanting to take on something new when she already has a relatively big schedule. The challenge Fiona faces is that the demand for graphic design is getting less and less, and that's with tools like Canva making it more flexible, easier for companies to create their own graphic design. There will always be demand for professional graphic designers because even with AI tools to speed things along, most people don't have the knowledge to do something for themselves. And especially if you've got busy businesses, they all want to outsource that to a professional. But there's certainly nothing wrong with Fiona adding a new tool into her toolkit. And that could be building websites using website builders, which isn't so much of a leap from her current role as a designer, but just several small baby steps along the way. And that's again where we come in, and that's where we can coach as well. Moving along, developer. And the reason I put developer slightly further on from graphic designer is because they usually have a better understanding of things like handling domains, are more comfortable with admin systems, and can also write and prepare custom code. Usually the challenges here is how to get that design eye across on developer-driven projects. Developers will often lean towards something like WordPress simply because there are preset templates, and they will squeeze their customers' content into one of those pre-existing templates and then rely on their coding skill set for any adjustments or any new features. But with most requirements from the clients that I've worked with, over 3,000 of them, they don't tend to need a high-end developer skill set. It's usually predominantly web design with a little bit of custom code as well, just to make that website look bespoke and unique. And bringing it on the line, we've got a web designer who is still classified in my experience as a beginner, maybe beginner to intermediate, where they've built between 10 and 75 professional websites. So they've got 10 projects under their belt. They feel comfortable doing most of their work, maybe 90% of the work they are fully comfortable and can just research those extra bits along the way. But then when something goes wrong, that's where this web designer is most at risk. They're probably charging enough at that point for the customer to put their trust in them to resolve the problems. However, they're not yet experienced enough to have seen all of these things many times before. And that brings us on to the web designer of 75 websites plus. That's not a set figure. It really depends on the complexity and the diversity of the websites that the designers build. But I generally think that 75 is a good number to say, I know what I'm doing. There are very few things that will come along and surprise me. An opportunity for a web designer on 75 websites to 100 websites to still be involved in a community so that they can stretch their skill set. There's always a risk at this stage that you go into your comfort zone and your websites start to look a bit the same. So what we try to do for this type of designer when they join our communities is throw extra resources at them, maybe challenge them to stretch the designs, to try something a little bit different, take them out of their comfort zone without blowing up the project budget in the same time. The great thing about website builders is that you're 80% through the project before you even create an account. All of the systems are working behind the scenes. Fluid Engine makes it really easy to build websites quickly, and we've built a series of resources that are available to our communities, like SquareForge, which is a rapid template builder for Squarespace. And then as we get to the end, the old goat. This is someone who's built thousands of websites, or at least something like 400 or 500 websites, so that they are so comfortable building sites. What happens then is your knowledge becomes broad enough that even considerable changes to the industry, new features, new additions, they don't tend to scare you because you're still building websites regularly enough that you can adapt quickly. I'm kind of in that bracket. I wouldn't say I'm the greatest designer of all time, simply because I'm not designing day in, day out. I spend most of my time coaching other designers to become eventually better than myself. But there are very few projects, in fact, I can't think of one in the last 2 to 3 years where I have been stumped, because there's always a relatable story or project that I can latch on to say, I've already solved it here, so therefore this should be resolved really quickly. I also spend way too much time buying and researching plugins and software. And when you've seen hundreds and hundreds of different software platforms, you start to see patterns, a bit like seeing the Matrix. And so therefore I can build websites almost in my sleep. And it's not to say that I'm wonderful and you should all bow down to me. That would be weird. But what I can say is experience of starting here, where I started building my very first website in 1996 on Microsoft Publisher, that's been a long journey for me from start to finish. However, the difference is, if I was to draw my journey, it would be like this. By mapping this out, choosing your start point and helping you with baby steps along the way, depending on the level of complexity you require, we are hoping at Pixelhaze Community to take this, and actually what happens with most people who are less stubborn than me is they'll start off like this, and then that's where they will get a professional in to take over the project, because it's too much hassle, too much frustration. What we are trying to do is to take that and make it far more of a straighter line from start to finish. So yes, this video has been a bit of a plug for our new communities. If you are looking to tighten up your websites, if you're looking to understand how you can create professional websites using website builders, and I promise you, you absolutely can, or if you're looking for additional support to coach you through your first or 100th website project, then it's worth giving Pixelhaze Community a try. It's taken over my life at the moment. I'm there every week, and we have live sessions where not only can I give you pointers for how to improve and become a better designer, I can also fix a lot of these problems on the spot, so you never ever get to that wall where you have to stop. I'm not promising a straight line across, but if you stick with us, I think I can smooth it out. Now it's over to you. I'd love to hear your feedback. Does this diagram make sense? Where do you start on the timeline? Leave us a message, and I'll catch you soon. Cheers.